Hi everybody, welcome back to those who've been hanging with me for some time, and welcome to those of you who have just found my channel. Appreciate it. Please don't forget to subscribe. I never say that at the beginning of these videos, but it's probably a smarty pants thing to do. But yeah, please don't forget to subscribe and like, and of course I love the comments, and I'll talk about that later because I love commenting back. All right, so the cats are going, so you know what that means. That means it's time to get into it. I have had this request for this video for some time. Recently I was on the Bigfoot Collectors Club podcast, and this came up again. Me and my co-host from my podcast that I do with Mystic Dylan, called The Witch and the Medium, that we co-host together, and we discuss all things witchy, all things medium-y. Well, pretty much we discuss spirit stuff and spiritual stuff and witchcraft and our different takes on it. And we were invited on the Bigfoot Collectors Club, and everybody sent in their questions for us there. And of course, what came up a lot, and what I was told that people were really excited about from the last time I actually was on the Bigfoot Collectors Club, the Watchers. So I'm gonna take a big gulp from my back in time mug, which is kind of fun. Like I'm camping. Look like I'm camping. Okay, so the Watchers. I am going to explain to you what I've come to understand the Watchers to be. What are the Watchers, and how did I discover them? Okay. So the Watchers, first of all, for those of you who may be wondering what the hell is she talking about? She's talking about the big brother in the sky. She's talking about government conspiracy. No, this is about the idea of that these are ancient beings. These aren't spirits. This is not angelic realm. This is an ancient beings, where they are literally, from what I've been shown, and I'm gonna just tell you what I've come to understand. Like I always tell you guys all the time, this is what I've come to understand thus far, right? So I'm not sitting here saying, listen, I know everything, just listen to what I have to say and don't worry about it. I'm saying this is what I've come to understand thus far. And what I've come to understand thus far is about the Watchers is that they are ancient beings that oversee all the other beings, including us, and dimensions, and other type of alien beings. They are so ancient, it's almost like going back to the beginning of when we started to transform into physical beings. Okay, like I said, this is kind of what I've come to understand thus far. Okay, so my first experience with the Watchers was a long time ago, when I first started, long time ago, in a far galaxy far away. I think I made that joke before. I was doing a reading for someone, and I started to see these beings that kind of actually had a cloak over them. I couldn't see their face. I couldn't really hear them. They were very different. I remember up to that time I was only doing, talking to spirits. I wasn't used to seeing beings or any other type of beings. I don't even think I was that far into Saint Michael and things like this. And I saw these ancient beings that had these cloaks on, and they kind of almost like swayed back and forth into view in the reading. And I said, oh wow, this is something I haven't seen before. And they just had a presence that was very quietly powerful is the best way I can describe it. Okay, these are not, these are not tricksters. These are not shadow people. These are not, I'm saying all this because I may have people say, oh, I think I know this, if it's like shadow people or trickster. They're not going to deal with sleep paralysis, or try to get your spirit to talk to them through sleep paralysis, and I've covered that in the sleep paralysis video. These are not grays aliens. These are not blue aliens. These are completely different category. They come in with the presence of, I am here to make sure that those that you are dealing with aliens, with angels, whatever you feel you're dealing with fae, any of those things, they are watching over that we are doing what's right and that realm is doing what's right. And what I mean by that is that they are coming from a place of making sure no one is crossing the lines that they're not supposed to cross. I don't mean demons or aliens are talking to you and they're a part of it. No. They are looking after the archangels. They're looking after high dimensional beings. They are the great, and you can go on and on how many greats, grandfathers of all of those. So they're not going to deal and make you feel good. They're not going to say, we're here to enlighten you. We're here to bring an enlightenment to your life. We're here to lift your spirit. We're here to remind you to do good on earth. They are overseeing all the dimensions, all of the portals, all the planes, all the higher beings. And they're making sure that those higher beings that are overseeing this type of dimension they are not going too far with their power. The reason why I feel like I started to see them is because the more I kind of dived into the underworld, or into this, what people call the underworld, or you can just call the other side. It's not really under, but the other side. The more I started to kind of deal with the spirit world and getting more in touch with that. And what I mean by touch, I don't mean, because I don't want you guys to kind of take this like, oh, I'm getting in touch with the spirit world, does this mean I'm going to, have this visitation, in the sense of like, I don't want you to be afraid. Not because I'm saying like, you're not special enough or anything like that, because they are much more alarming. So I don't want you to worry about that. You can go and explore. But I was coming from a place of educating. I'm coming from a place of reading. I'm coming from a place of messenger in a very strong way by the time I saw them, right? And I only saw a peek, a very small peek at the first time. Trust me, it wasn't even like, we are here. And so it was just kind of like, all right, here's a person who's doing messaging, who's communicating with this realm. I was knowing how to go into that realm myself. And so the presence was being flagged towards me. Flash forward to like many, many years later, I would say over 10 years later, I knew someone who was very special to me. I respect highly, who was a very powerful high priestess witch, who I have had a lot of love, still have a lot of love and respect for. And I'm mentioning this because I had an incident that night, this particular night. And I actually thought it would be perfect to talk about the Watchers this video, because I was on the Bigfoot Collectors Club and someone asked about it and I talked about it and I told the story on the Bigfoot Collectors Club. And what happened is I was going to sleep, and this is like, again, getting way deeper into, I've been reading now for 10, 11 years, teaching class after class after class, doing medium galleries, doing seances. Like, I'm way deep into that realm, right? I now am aware of Saint Michael. I work with Saint Michael as a protector. I'm working with higher beings. I actually already had experience with interdimensional beings. I covered in that video I did on interdimensional beings. I just want to say, because I again don't want people to get freaked out, and I also don't want to take this to make it sound like I was just like, oh, and then this happened, like casually. I was going to sleep, and as I was falling asleep, I heard a very loud, louder than anything I've ever heard, much louder than any spirit. Sorry, I've been reading all day, so my voice is a little much louder than any spirit, much louder than anything else I've heard, and it was very powerful, even including Archangel Michael. It felt more powerful, and it said, "Come with us," and it was literally like, "Come with us," like not like "come with us," like in an evil way, but just in a very like powerful way. And I shot straight up, and I was like basically saying no, and I did call on Saint Michael, and I kind of felt like this weird, not battle, but this feeling like I was being untangled and released. And I literally heard say sorry, and then it like vanished. I did call this person that I know that and respected, and that I described just earlier, And she told me that's what it was. And I look on the wall and there was a triangle. And she said, when you first called me, I thought it was something spiritual. She was able to do this, and I was going to trap it. And I was wondering why were they introducing themselves. And she said, well, you're dealing with this world. You're so far into it that they figured your abilities are rising and rising, your antenna is going higher and higher, basically, and they figured maybe you're ready for them. And so I decided, okay, I understood, and it was kind of old hat to her, and we said goodnight. So I understood, and I was kind of like intrigued by it, but I wasn't ready for it. So I flash forward to when I decided I was ready, and I opened up my altar, and I lit candles, and I pretty much communed with the idea of like, okay, listen, I'm more prepared. And I started to see these, but they, again, it never was like seeing. It wasn't like I saw flashes of light. It was this knowing that these extremely, extremely powerful police, FBI, CIA, whatever you want to call it, type of beings that are making sure that all checks and balances are in line. So it's reason why they're the watchers is because they don't talk to you. Even when I heard that, it wasn't like we're going to sit and come with us and let's have a chat. It was more like, we need to check you out. Who are you? It's just like, oh, we didn't know that you still didn't get who we are and you're maybe afraid. So it is the watchers are here they have been here, and they are in the interdimensional place. They are making sure that we are not crossing the lines too far, that the spiritual warfare, because there is a spiritual warfare going on, isn't crossing too far. So it's kind of the idea of like, the spiritual warfare is the idea of free will, right? And if you have free will, then people have to kind of choose what side they're fighting on, where they want to fight, what they believe in, and they stay out of all of that. They're not going to guide you into your enlightenment or into your understanding or into your knowledge. They are literally here to make sure that even the powers of be are not abusing their power. That's pretty much what it is. And the reason why I was saying that I felt like I was being checked out, because it's still the same. We're making sure you're not abusing your power. Beings like archangels and things like this, again, everyone plays their role in that dimension. It is not a hierarchy. It's an understanding of we all are serving a purpose towards each other, and we are accepting that service, appreciating being a part of that service, and we are not coming from a place of hierarchy. There isn't one being or person that is higher than the other. And archangels are here to kind of help us and check and make sure that other kind of negative energies aren't coming too far and interfering, and they're very powerful in that end. And if you go on, the watchers are at the very tail end, making sure that all of these checks and balances and all of the higher beings. So it's kind of more like they're managing that. And if you're going into that world and you're diving into it, they do see who is and what they're doing with it. Now, does it mean they interfere and take care of it? No. If they see something is off balance, they send the others to take care of it, if that makes sense. So I'm just explaining to you what I've come to understand so far and what I've seen. And I have seen them other times, which, I'm going to kind of keep a little more private. But I have seen them other times. They just don't talk. Really, it's just a knowing. And I think on the Bigfoot Collectors Club, if you listen to the last podcast we were on, me and Mystic Dylan, then you'll hear that Riley, their producer, had an experience that he said when I shared my experience about the Watchers, he related to. And he talked about it on the last one, me and Mystic Dylan did, and we talked about it on the one I did alone with them, and he talked about it there. So I want you to know the cool thing that I really like about the feeling of the Watchers is that I think people kind of just see like the spiritual world is either kind of or that realm is like a hierarchy thing, or they see that there's like, you know, everyone's just kind of running around doing, you know, what they want, and there isn't checks and balances because of free will. And because of free will, free will just really means like we're going to let you figure out where you are, where you want to be, how you want to be. You want to go completely into a negative space, that's your choice. If you want to go completely into a light space, that's your choice. But if you start interfering too far with the other realms and you're trying to like destroy, or you're trying to do things for your own selfish power, believe me, there's ways that that starts to crumble, and the Watchers are part of that domino, meaning like they hit the domino and it goes on down. Sometimes we don't see it for a long, long time, and that's why I think people think the Watchers is like some hero, God type of thing, or some heroine or hero that's going to come down and like change it all. They don't do that. They're like, this is out of whack, tell that one, and that one tells that one, and that one tells that one, and that one tells that one, until even if it's a person doing something that's creating things out of way going too far, it aligns it. But because of free will, we have to see the we have to see the result of our actions. So we have to see that when people have asked me like, what about really negative people and things that they've done, horrible things, and what happens to their spirits, believe me, no one's just kind of let off in just floating around into happy, you know, land. Sometimes, but the point is that we have to see the actions of our ways, what we caused. If we see what we caused, then the rest of the world sees what those type of actions do, and that's how we grow. And that's why we're here. We're here to kind of look at, can we still come from an enlightened place, even with all of the ego and all of the wanting to just surpass all the lessons and just get what we want? Are we going to still try to grow and learn and love and evolve through all of the muck? And the Watchers are saying, we're not saying you're not going to go through muck. We can't promise that. But when you take it to a point of abusing spiritual or magic to your own sake, they will stop that. If you're especially going to try and use magic, or if you're going to try and use sight, or if you're going to try and use your own spiritual evolvement. What I mean by that is, if you're opening your sight, if you're starting to feel like you're getting empowered, and you said, okay, now I'm going to use that to like as Dylan, our podcast, say, go find Cleopatra's, you know, go find Cleopatra's, what does he always ask me? He wants me to find her, or go like look for, you know, secret treasures on using my sight for that. They will not allow that. There are energies that are in charge of that, but the Watchers will see if it's like those energies are starting to abuse even their power, if that makes sense. Meaning like if the archangels are abusing their power. I think everyone seems like kind of thinks that everybody's just in that realm. It's just because they're so evolved. They even think this was spirits, that they just aren't going to ever do anything for you know, not go in the wrong directions. It's just the idea of like, we're watching, we're making sure that no one goes too far, and there's no kind of like emotion to it. It's just matter of fact. It's almost like, and so that's why their energy won't feel like loving and kind in that kind of way. But it doesn't mean they're bad. It doesn't even mean anything like that. It's just like the stern, strict principle or something like beyond. So I hope that explains it. I really can't wait to hear all the comments and questions when I do my next live YouTube, which I'm going to do them every 3 videos, because I want to put 3 videos out and then see, hey, you guys want to discuss what I put out? What questions do you have? We'll discuss it live. I will post it this time. I'm so sorry I deleted it because I started a post one, and then I had to, you know, restart and do another post, and I was like, oh, that looks so sloppy. There's like half a post and half a post. So I deleted it, and then everyone's like, where'd it go? So I'm so sorry. I won't do that next time. I will keep the Q&A up for you guys. But yeah, I think I'm going to start doing the Q&A like probably basically once a month, because I want to build up all the questions that you guys have, and new questions you have about other things, or questions you have about the videos. Thank you guys so much. I'm sure hopefully there'll be a lot of comments. Feel free to comment. I'll definitely answer back. And you can follow me here on YouTube, on Instagram, all social media. I'm Adela Levine. You can follow my podcast, The Witch in the Medium, that I co-host with Mystic Dylan. You can find that on any platform that's out there. And if you want to check out what we did on Bigfoot Collectors Club, they're on any platform that's out there too. The podcast that was fun, we did that last week. Thank you guys so much. Please also look for on Instagram. This month I'm doing quite a few things. Me and Mystic Dylan are going to start the Witch in the Medium Day. Stay tuned for that at a place we're going to be at together, doing readings and such. We're also going to be doing a seance, and we're also going to be doing a class of him teaching about the underworld and me taking you to the underworld. So go ahead and follow me on Instagram, AdelaLevine.com, if you want to book readings. I appreciate you guys. The watchers, it was kind of like to the point, a little bit to the point, because that's kind of how they are. And this is what I've learned to understand so far, the frequency and the energy is. And it's actually very fascinating to me as well. Thank you guys so much. Look forward to hearing from you. Listen to yourself. Follow no one. Follow that inner compass. Remember, trust that intuition, and I'll see you soon.